Hi, I'm Ann Fraser, and welcome to another edition of Bringing Hope to Alzheimer's. And I'm sitting here today with Emma Beason, and Emma is currently in school at KU Med Center, and she has an interest in Alzheimer's research. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So let's just dive right in.
Okay.
So my first question is, kind of tell us a little bit about what got you interested in research for Alzheimer's and brain health. And do you have a personal connection to it?
Yeah, so when I was in undergrad and college, my grandfather was actually diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And so I got involved with that community during college, and then when I came to med school, I just kind of wanted to further my interest in it, and then an opportunity arose this summer, and I just grabbed onto it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So how can someone get involved in like research studies? And what do you find as a barrier for people wanting to participate in research?
Yeah, so I would think a really good way is like at doctor's appointments. We know this population is going to the doctors a lot for a wide range of conditions. And there they can point you to resources. There's like on their websites, there's tons of links for like support groups and research studies, and like the options are endless. Like there's so many research studies going on right now. And so that's just a really good way at the doctors.
Okay. Good.
And then I would say a barrier is time. A lot of the questions that research seeks, they're not answered in like a one-time visit. They kind of span 1 or 2 years, and so I would say there is some hesitation to participate in research because it takes a lot of time to get the answers and conduct the actual studies.
So I just had a meeting with this department, and so I'm actually getting ready to potentially sign up to be in some of the research studies. So what kind of time are we talking?
So just for example, the study I'm working on right now, it does take like 1 to 2 years because it focuses on lifestyle interventions. And so to be able to produce results and actually see impacts, that is going to take probably 1 to 2 years is what we're looking at.
So as a participant though, how often am I coming in? Am I just answering questions on a questionnaire? Like what would that mean for me?
Yeah, so I guess that just depends on the study design. Like I said, there's tons of
like the one you're
research.
on.
Yeah, so mine focuses on physical activity. So we have our participants do a certain amount of exercise each week, and then we meet with them each week and ask them how it's going, what they think about it, and then there's different intervals of the treatment, which is the physical activity we're giving them. And so for 6 months, it's kind of very weekly, and then the next 6 months, it's very hands-off, and we see how they kind of do with it.
Okay, got it. Okay, so they have to physically show up weekly at the beginning.
It is over Zoom. Our study is over
good.
Zoom.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought they had to drive there.
Yeah.
So, okay, no, that's helpful then.
Yeah, that is.
Okay.
We saw that there's a huge barrier to like transporting Alzheimer's patients and stuff, so we wanted to make it easily accessible and do it over Zoom.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I don't know if you know, but I have pre-Alzheimer's.
Okay.
Right? And so I am looking at doing some of the studies just to be able to follow.
Yeah.
I'm already doing all of the things, eating right and exercising and getting good sleep and all those types of things. But that's why I'm asking, because I definitely want to get involved in some of the research. So that's why I'm just curious.
Yeah.
And I think other people are probably curious. So, okay, very good. So that's the whole reason I'm doing this podcast. It's about brain prevention. Share with me some of your thoughts about the major hurdles that we face as a society when it comes to this. And then also, what do you think we're getting right? And what do you think that we need to improve?
So I think a major hurdle is just that there's a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to brain health, and that's not to say there's no hope, because there's tons of hope.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of research that suggests what factors do contribute to brain health and what helps. And I think that question turns into next, how can we make that like available for everyone?
Sure.
And so that's why for my study, we're doing physical activity, but we're implementing it online. So just to remove the barrier of having to like find a gym, go to the gym, just trying to make it more accessible to everyone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you guys actually have like an exercise program that they can get online and follow.
Yeah, and I do actually teach one of the exercise classes. It is a lot of fun.
I love that.
Getting to interact with the participants, and it's a lot of fun.
Very good. And so when you do that live, I take it.
Yes.
Okay, so What time of the day do you do that?
It's usually evening or morning. There's like,
Okay.
they can sign up for like several
Oh,
different
okay,
options.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. What do you think that, I mean, you kind of touched on this, but what are these research programs and the whole brain health? What are we getting right? What do we need to improve on?
I think what we're getting right is just increasing awareness, like this podcast. It's hard when people like are just like getting diagnosed with Alzheimer's for them to know what's actually available to them. And so just increasing awareness, and like I kind of touched on earlier, like when they go to doctor's appointments, that's a good opportunity for them to receive education about what's available. And then kind of what we need to improve on is kind of goes hand in hand with that, as in we just need to continue to increase awareness.
Right, right. Well, because we know that cognition, brain health it's a lifestyle disease.
Yeah.
I mean,
for
there's
sure.
so many factors that contribute, like we said, eating, sleeping, reducing stress, all those things, they all play a factor. And it's hard to, I always say the program that I'm on it's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because you can tell someone all day long, eat right, and
Right.
but what does that exactly mean? And how is
Right.
somebody going to actually make sure that they're doing that?
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah, and that's interesting because kind of relating to what you said, there's so many factors in an individual's life that it's hard to navigate what's actually going to be beneficial for them, and
Right.
like in what ways can they actually attain that benefit.
Exactly, exactly. And I think it's really hard sometimes for people, for instance, if they don't live in a city that has like organic food or as easily accessible,
Yeah.
or the doctors. I mean, there's a lot of doctors, I think, that sometimes I know that for cognitive decline can come across as depression. It can come across as with some anxiety.
Yeah.
It can come across as, even for women, like menopausal symptoms.
Right.
And but it could actually be brain issues. And so I think for a lot of doctors, it's hard sometimes to diagnose or to be able to bring up that maybe this is a cognitive issue.
Right.
So
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited about my research, because I have the opportunity to just have conversations and not just related to their disease, but just about everything, like their day-to-day life, so I can kind of understand what other problems they're having outside of just their condition.
Exactly, exactly. I love that. So we've talked a little bit about the areas that you focus on with regard to brain health as a whole, but are there any particular areas that you focus on and that you have interest in regarding brain health?
Yeah, so I have touched on this a little, but physical activity, I think that is so important. It's really interesting. There's a lot of different ways to like attain physical activity, and just finding what works the best for an individual is really rewarding. You can tell when they're actually enjoying it and it's not just like a chore to them.
Yes.
So that really interests me, and help in interacting with them to help them find that and let them feel successful in that is, I really enjoy that.
Right. Well, because physical activity also is huge in, for someone that might have a little bit more sedentary life, just standing up, sitting down can be exercise for them, right? Because otherwise you kind of have those muscles go dormant, and then they're a fall risk. And then that creates a whole nother issue. So, because a fall and hitting your head, that can also cause cognitive issues.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and so the exercise programs that I work on, it's just a wide variety of exercises, so we really target like every muscle from head to toe, making sure that these people are really getting the exercise they need.
Right. Very good. And you exercise.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Not every day. Probably not as much as I should, but I do. Yes.
Very good. Very good. I exercise every day. I used to be a personal trainer too.
Oh, okay.
And I did that for, golly, almost 30 years. And it was just something that I think exercise is so great for your body in so many ways, your brain, stress relief, and so many other things. And it's, and I like the social aspect of it as well. So
Yeah.
Good. All right. So in the future, where do you see yourself, let's say in 10, 20 years, 30 years? What is it that you want to do? Do you want to be in this field? And where do you think we're going to be going with this?
Well, I hope we do get some more answers that we've been asking questions about, but I would say that I do have a really big interest in the aging population. It is personal to me because of my grandfather, and so I do want to continue to participate in research, kind of learn more through school. I did just finish my first year, so I have not an expert in the field by any means.
Right.
So I do just want to keep being involved with research, and then hopefully we get some answers.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't tell you, so, and our listeners, if they've listened to previous podcasts, they would know, but I was diagnosed with MCI, mild cognitive impairment. And so we've been able, through lifestyle changes, been able to reverse all my cognitive decline back to 100%. And so I don't know if I will stay reversed for the rest of my life. Dear Lord Jesus, please.
Yeah.
but it's something that is huge.
Right.
And it's been very rewarding.
Yeah.
But, and I've said many times, if I don't stay on my plan though, then I'll start having, it's not like I would never say that I'm cured, because I don't think there's a cure.
Yeah.
But I can manage it by my lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
But if I don't keep those up, or I go off my plan for a little while for one reason or another, then it'll start creeping back.
Yeah.
I'll notice some changes and notice that I'm having some problems again.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's exciting is really getting people to understand that you can change your brain.
Right.
And you need to start early
Yeah.
and young. Like, even at my gala last week, I had a guest of honor at my table. He's 38, and he has pre-Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
I mean, he has cognitive decline.
Yeah.
And he's 38.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's exciting about the research you're doing, and where you're headed in your career. I think is awesome. We need more people like you.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
that.
I think that the main goal of research is kind of just to help people maintain that mindset that you just described to me.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and that's an unfortunate
Absolutely.
reality. But I think that through research, we can give people hope and say, what you said, if we stick to this plan, we can actually make an impact on your disease. And there's not, like you said, there's not necessarily a cure right now, but there are things that you can do to maintain the quality of life that you want.
Right. And I think finding people younger and earlier, and that's why I throw my gala and why I do this podcast is, like I said, people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, you don't want to wait until you have cognitive decline. If you can take care of your brain now, it's hard to prove prevention.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but the more aware people are to pay attention to their brain health, then I think that makes a big difference too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for what you're doing.
Having me.
I wish you all the best. I'll look forward to catching up with you as you're going through school, and hopefully see you're doing great things, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Of course. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Bringing Hope to Alzheimer's.